Posted by you/Helen Keller's voice. So, I'm in a bit of a weird situation. My fiancé and I aren't the most traditional and wanted to have our wedding as more of a family vacation with the bonus of a wedding. My parents have a beautiful lakefront house, and we decided to have our wedding there. When we were initially planning our wedding and figuring out dates, I wanted to have it on June 26th. The 26th was important to us because that's the day my fiancé and I first met. However, when discussing it with my family, my sister said no because she already had a vacation planned for that date. I was sad, but it wasn't the end of the world, so we decided on June 4th to June 9th. Everything was working out perfectly, and I let both of our families know to mark our wedding for those dates and started wedding planning. It was all perfect until last night. I got a FaceTime from my dad, who showed me the ultrasound, and I was super excited. There were congratulations, jumping around because I'm going to be an auntie. I'm so excited for them and for my future niece or nephew. But it all came crashing down when I asked my sister when she was due, and she said, May 1st, so we're going to have to talk about your wedding. I assumed she just meant that she wouldn't be able to attend. So I told them it's okay, we can just FaceTime them in, and her jaw dropped. Then my mom said we could just push it back to September. I knew my emotions would get the best of me, so I said we could talk about it later, and we went back to congratulating and thinking of baby names. After the call, I can't lie, I had a bit of a breakdown. I already moved my dates once to accommodate my sister, which was fine, and I didn't push back on it. But after 7 months of planning our wedding around this date and having my fiancé's family plan around it, I don't want to change it. Unfortunately, I know my family, and they will push for me to move it and disrespect my decision not to. I know traveling with a newborn baby is going to be hard, which is why I offered to FaceTime her in, but it seems like it's offensive to them that I don't want my sister to be present at the wedding. I feel so insanely guilty about being upset over having to change my wedding dates because my sister is pregnant. She's bringing a beautiful new family member into our lives, but I'm still a bit heartbroken that if I don't change the wedding date, I'll be seen as inconsiderate and a jerk by my family. So, am I wrong for not wanting to push back my wedding because my sister is pregnant? Up in the comments. My sister is the golden child of the family, it's not really a secret or something they try to hide. She's extremely involved with the family, visits them every weekend, while I live across the country and only visit once a year, though I do FaceTime regularly. My parents are also very money-driven, and my sister is a doctor, compared to my brother and me, who work in trades. She's the definition of the perfect child. She also typically plans all trips, vacations, or outings for the family because she's extremely type A and likes to control situations. She's a bit stubborn and likes things her way or not at all, and we've always just gone with it because it's easier. I expected my wedding to be the exception, but I guess not. Update 8 days later. So, a lot has happened in the past few days. I called my brother the day after I made my post. He understood where I was coming from and told me that I should absolutely not change my wedding date. Since I was worried about speaking to my mom and being ganged up on, we planned when to talk to her about not wanting to change my fiancé's and my wedding date, so he could be there to speak on my behalf if my emotions got the best of me. That didn't happen. My mom called me the next day to talk it over. I informed her that I was not going to change my wedding date, and she was upset initially but surprisingly receptive. I was extremely happy about that until she said, "You need to talk to your sister about this because she's not going to be happy about being forced out 1 month postpartum." I explained I wasn't expecting or forcing her to attend, but then my mom said, "No, she's coming to your wedding. I don't care if she's a new mom." After that, I got into a bit of an argument with my mom about her forcing my sister to do something that isn't in the best interest of her and her future family. I ended up hanging up on her. I don't take being spoken to in a harsh tone easily and will tell the other person to take a minute to reevaluate their tone and come back. During the call, she also let slip that she was extremely disappointed in me for going to my brother for support instead of her and said I was just creating family drama for no reason. It is what it is. I needed a family perspective, which is why I called my brother. I ended up trying to call my sister the next day, but she declined. So I texted her and informed her that I would not be changing my wedding dates. It was a much longer text explaining my reasons and emotions. She replied a day later with, "You and I both know that your wedding dates aren't officially set, and the only factor would be communicating the change to your fiancé's family. I hope the hassle is worth having my and your literal niece or nephew's presence." I explained that I had already ordered and put money down on multiple things, as well as having my fiancé's family planning and accommodating around this date for 7 months. In my opinion, she was not receptive and said, "There are really no excuses. You have the power to move the date even just a little later in the summer to include me, and you're choosing not to. That hurts." I responded that I wasn't choosing to not have her at my wedding but understood she may not be able to attend and would have to FaceTime in instead. I also explained that I had already moved my wedding date once to accommodate her. I asked her to try to put herself in my shoes and imagine how she would have felt if I asked her to push back her wedding. She replied, I would have moved my date in a heartbeat. That's the difference between us. At that point, I decided to offer pushing it back to the 26th of June, as some comments suggested to see if she would still go on her previously planned vacation, and thank God I did, because she told me she couldn't do the 26th since she's still going on her vacation, 20 days after my wedding. I'm not the most knowledgeable about babies, since I don't have one and have only known my best friend's baby, but I don't feel like there's a huge difference between traveling with a 1-month-old and a 1.5-month-old. That solidified in my mind that she doesn't care about me, my fiancé, or our feelings but still expects everyone to accommodate her. At this point, as per my fiancé's advice, I'm putting it in the screw-it drawer in my head and not going to stress about it anymore because everyone knows the date is set. If my family wants to show up to my wedding, that would be amazing, but if not, I'm not going to be upset. At the end of the day, this will just show me who to prioritize as family in my life, because family is not always blood. Second update 10 days later. So, this update is absolutely comical to me. As I said in my previous update, I stood strong and told my family I was planning on keeping my wedding dates. It didn't go well, but at least I had my parents' support on it. Everything was as calm and relaxed as it could be. My sister hasn't talked to me since the conversation, but I figured she was just pissed off at me and dealing with everything involving the pregnancy. But getting to the hilarious part of this update, 2 days ago we got a FaceTime from my fiancé's sister-in-law showing us 2 positive pregnancy tests. She's due the first week of June, aka when our wedding is. My fiancé and I did all the congratulations and excitement because, once again, it's the first grandchild and baby in the family. After the call, my fiancé and I just looked at each other and busted out laughing. Not only is my sister having the first grandbaby on my side, but his sister-in-law is having the first grandbaby on his side, all within the month before or during our wedding. Like, what are the chances? My fiancé and I have always had bad luck with planning things, which is why we were planning a relaxed, chill wedding instead of a big, extravagant one. We had a few minutes of conversation, and it ended with us agreeing, in my fiancé's words, "Screw this, let's just elope." So that's exactly what we're doing. Like I said, we aren't traditional, and honestly, we were just doing all of this for our family so they could feel included and have a fun time at the lake house. But with all the babies and 9 out of the 14 people who were invited not being able to attend, my sister and brother-in-law, her mother-in-law and brother-in-law, my fiancé's mom, dad, little sister, and his brother and sister-in-law, why even have the whole wedding thing? So, we're going to the courthouse on June 26th, the date I originally wanted but couldn't choose because of my sister's scheduled vacation, to get married. We're going to keep the photographer we've put a deposit on and just switch from wedding photos to a couple shoot. We're also still planning on going to the lake house and taking it as a pre-honeymoon. We've already let all of our family know that the whole wedding is cancelled. My side is relieved, and his side is sad because they won't have the opportunity to celebrate us as a couple. But it just wasn't what the universe wanted, and we'll plan something in the next couple of years to get our families together and celebrate, maybe for one of our anniversaries. Honestly, I can't even be upset because it's so comical that the one major event we've been planning doesn't work out because everyone is getting pregnant and due around or during our wedding. But at the end of the day, we're getting married and getting some adorable little nieces or nephews. This will be my last update because no wedding means no more drama,